Awesome. Thank you for joining me today, Miles. You are the drummer of rising metal band Saul. How long have you been involved with this project?
So I've been with Saul since 2020, so just about 3 years, a little over 3 years actually now.
Awesome. So whenever you joined kind of during their rising to stardom, like with Brother and yeah, with Brother and uh sorry, one second. Gosh. With Okay, I'm sorry. I got my tongue tied, but with Brother and the other big Octane hits going on, what was that kind of like jumping in there?
It was a big switch up from what I was doing before. Like prior to Saul, it was mostly regional bands, just a couple shows every month, to joining a band that was supposed to start touring with Hell Yeah and all that like a month and a half after I joined, which obviously didn't happen because of COVID. But I pretty much had a lot to learn about the step up in the music industry from what I had been doing. So I pretty much was just like being thrown into a job with little prior experience. But yeah, definitely a little bit of a culture shock. But I mean, that's kind of what you have to do when you want to progress in the music industry. You got to go to places that you're uncomfortable with. And they kind of threw me into that. I was uncomfortable for a little bit, but I mean, the progress has been incredible. So it's like I can't fault that at all. It's been crazy to watch where we've gone in 3 years for sure.
Oh yeah, I completely bet. How did you end up becoming a part of Saul? How did that process end up happening?
So yeah, so I moved up to Kansas City back in 2018. I played for a band called Renegades out there, and we were supposed to go on. Well, we started a tour with this band called Adventure from out in New Jersey, and Saul actually drove down from Iowa to Kansas City to direct support for my band at that show. And me and Blake and Zach ended up talking because they had like they rolled in with this like incredible lighting package and it was super tight and music was crazy good. And they just, I was just like, okay, these guys are ridiculous. I hadn't listened to them prior to that day. And so they come down and we talk and all that stuff. And fast forward to about 7 to 8 months later, and I'm just chilling at home. I had been doing mostly guitar videos at that point. Renegades had broken up. Um, and I get a message from Blake and Zach and then their former manager. And they were like, hey, so we just lost our drummer. We're starting to hold auditions for a new one. You were like one of the first names that came up. Would you be interested? And of course, I was like, absolutely. Because like over that year in 2019, I've been I've been watching Saul blow up. I watched Brother like doing crazy good at Octane. I watched the Spine Farm signing happen. So I'm like, all right, these guys are doing something, like, and I want to be a part of that. Like, if I'm going to be able to advance any part of my music career, like I got to surround myself with people that are, pushing themselves to the next level. So that was uh that was kind of a no brainer for me to be like, yeah, I'll audition.
Yeah, I mean that sounds pretty cool. To go from to to be able to go from one band to another and it be a good opportunity to bring this way back. How long have you been involved in music, like playing drums or even just playing music in general?
Well, I joined my first band, like my first actual like project in 2012, while I was still in high school. And that was kind of like what kickstarted the whole thing. I moved to Columbus in 2015, and that's when I started playing the majority of my bands. I mean, music in general started when I was probably 12 years old in church, though, because I played a lot of church services. That's kind of how I learned how to play drums, just through playing in church. So that's kind of how all that started. And then fast forward to after graduation, I started playing in pop punk bands, metalcore bands, played in a deathcore band for a little bit. So it's the local scene all the way up until joining Saul, which has kind of been that next the next level for me.
Wow, so playing in like pop punk, metalcore, deathcore bands, would you say that has kind of inspired your drumming style even to now playing in more of a, straight up metal type band like Saul?
Hmm. No, 100%. That's kind of where I get. I've gotten to. to do a lot of different random things and songs, as you'll see in this new record. Like if you listen to some of the drum parts and some, there's like some subtle fills here and there that are just kind of like little stabs at other genres that I've played before. Like it'll be like a random like high energy metal fill, or it'll be like a little like a blast beat part. That's like that's usually wouldn't go there, but like it's being able to like play all those genres and then finding ways to like just kind of just fit them in, you know. Because it definitely like Josh Manuel from Issues is a big one. Matt from Periphery, massive drummer. Alexis Priester, also an incredible metal drummer. So like all these different drummers over the years that I've played, some of them in the same genre, some of them vastly different genres. Like Matt Garsta from Animal Leaders, name one of the guys. Like just like how intricate they are is kind of how intricate I want it to be, but like a little bit more subtly, you know. Just because like I didn't want to like fully go the progressive metal route in playing, but I didn't want to just stick to the straight 4/4 rock version that everybody knows because like it gets boring after a while. So
Yeah, I completely get that, like kind of putting your own spin on things. And you brought up your new record titled "This Is It: The End of Everything" coming out on July 28th. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Are there like what was that writing process kind of like?
writing process was very collaborative. We worked with Kyle Odell down in Nashville. He's worked on some Neil Strauss stuff, Motionless in White, a lot of awesome reputable bands. So we did the whole record with him. Produced one song back in February of last year, and then decided after that we were like, we're just going to get into doing the record with this guy because it was that good of a process just in the first song. But we also brought in Johnny Andrews, who's worked with Under Oath, some of their last releases. And then, oddly enough, since we're on tour with them right now, we did one of the tracks on the record called Rain Fire. It was actually done with Maddie and Kellen from Memphis Mayfire. So we have this like awesome collaborative experience where we got to come in and just like write this amazing record. And I mean, it took about let's say a month and a half. We were down in Nashville. I got really used to the coffee down there, and it's incredible. And I can see why people down there drink it to get to work in the morning. But yeah, it was a crazy just month and a half of sitting in a room with some of the most talented people that I've ever had a pleasure of writing songs with, and just putting out this monster record that I'm really excited for everyone to hear.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a really cool experience. I always like hearing what music people are listening to while they're in the writing process. So is there anybody you were kind of bumping on repeat while you were making the record?
Honestly, not really. Um, we we wanted to make sure that this record didn't what's the word I'm looking for here? Didn't mimic any other bands that we were listening to at the moment. Because like, like we could be like, yeah, we wanna pull out I Prevail for this song, or we wanna like mimic Nothing More on this song, or we really want to have some disturbed essence in this song. We were just like, what do we sound like? You know, what's our sound? What can we put in this record? Let's not look for inspiration other places. Let's figure out what we have that can make this record incredible. So we didn't. I mean, I listened to music after we left the studio for sure, but most of it was just listening to the demos that we had put out and just kind of been working on throughout the day as to how can we make these better.
Yeah, absolutely. Like starting with a fresh slate almost. I'd really like to hear are there any songs on this record that you are most excited for listeners to hear?
Yeah, there is a song on the record called "Castles in the Sky." Um, that one musically, it's just it's progressive. Like we actually got to do a lot of really cool stuff, and I think people that dug the Touching the Parallels record, and a little bit of Eon's record, are going to really kind of hear some of those subtle nuances in that particular song. Every one of the songs in the record has something for everybody, so I'm really excited for that. Like there's some stuff for the heavier people, there's some stuff for the more melodic people. That song in particular, we did the co-write on the melody with Sahaj Tikkaton, which up with Sweetwater Studios. Crazy cool dude. So we got to collaborate with him in like the vocal melody. We had the lyrics kind of written already, but he kind of came in with the melodic ideas, and like that song, it's got the melody. It's got a really crazy um it's got a really catchy hook is what I was trying to say. And personally my favorite is the breakdown of that track. The bridge is just powerful. So I think it worked really like that for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear that. So to kind of fast forward to now, you're on tour with Memphis Mayfire, Norma Jean, and Secrets, which, like, going back to your roots, those are like some metalcore legends. So how
Yeah,
is how is that process? I mean, how has that experience been so far on the road
this
with them?
tour, yeah, no, this tour has absolutely been a blast. I mean, I think we're day 7 now. We're heading actually on our way down to Charleston, South Carolina to play at the Music Farm today. But literally every member of every one of the camps has just been awesome. Like, there is not a single band on this tour that kind of just sticks to themselves or only talks to like one of the other bands. Like, everyone's hanging out. Like, Norma Jean was having some band issues yesterday, so they rolled in. I think literally like 40 minutes before doors opened, and so like there was members from us, some of the Secrets guys, some of the Memphis Mayfire guys, just swarmed their van basically and got all their stuff loaded in and put up on stage and patched in. Like, it's that kind of like camaraderie that you don't really see on tours too often. And it's pretty much just kind of like oh we'll stick in here, we'll do our sound check, and then we'll just go hang back in the bus. But like there's kind of like everyone has their green rooms, but everyone hangs out with everybody. And so like that helps so much with the climate and morale of the tour. It's just when everyone is just together, you know. And it's the tour package. It's not just like every band's on tour with everyone else, you know. So it's been crazy. We were all having a great time with this run. It's super relaxed, super laid back. All the crews are incredible. So everyone's loving this, I think. And the weather doesn't hurt either. So that's good.
Yeah, that I mean that sounds like a really fun time. How has the crowd reaction been so far? Has everybody been receptive to what you guys are putting out?
Yeah, no. Crowd reception has been great. We've been mixing in 3 of the new songs into the set, so you get 3 new ones, 3 old ones. It's been 3 of the ones we just put out. So we've been playing A Million Miles, Tooth and Nail, and Better as a Memory. And like everyone's like, it's cool because like those are the songs that are kind of closer to what the store package is. And like in musical spaces, I should say. So it's been cool to kind of see how they're blending, you know, because we opened the show, we're probably like the least heavy band on the bill, and right after us is Secrets, which is probably the heaviest band on the bill. So it's a bit of a culture shock, I would say, going from one to one or one to the other. But it's been cool. Like, everyone's been getting there early. I know in New York we had, I think you said 550 people through the door before we even went on.
Wow.
So, and like you don't really see that for opening bands, you know. Like, it's kind of like people just kind of trickle in. And maybe the first couple rows are filled up, but like we've been playing to pretty much a packed room every night on the tour, and that's as an opening band, we appreciate the crap out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I've seen, you guys have been playing some really big festivals over time as well. What's that kind of been like? 'Cause I'm sure you're playing in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people for those. So what has that been a fun experience?
Yeah, festivals are always a fun experience, man. I mean, you get to like clash with a bunch of other dances you wouldn't normally see. So like we're playing Rock Fest at the end of the well, not the end of the month. That's actually next Saturday or next Friday. My days are starting to blend together at this point. So we'll be up in Cadott, Wisconsin next Friday, and that day specifically we're playing that day. But Ginger plays the stage right after us. Wage War is going to be there. Gideon's going to be there. So 2 like heavy bands that I freaking love. And then Slipknot headlines that night. So that's why festivals are so much fun. Like, yeah, we're going to be, you know, 25, 30,000 people for the day, but also like I I get to go there as a performer, but also as a festival goer, you know, because like when we get done playing, because we play at like 3 or 40 in the afternoon, I think it's pretty much as soon as we get done playing, as soon as we pack up, I just get to be a patron at the festival for the rest of the day, you know, except with all access.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's really cool. That makes me wonder, you said you kind of started out with like local projects and stuff. Does it ever really hit you like, wow, I'm touring nationally right now. I'm playing these massive festivals. Like, does that ever just blow your mind?
It does. Like, if you ever look at any of my socials, I just posted a picture a couple days ago and I got like this like stupid grin on my face. And like I've heard that almost every night of this tour, they're like, you do smile a lot. And I'm like, yeah, this is my freaking job. Like I'm on tour with Memphis Mayfire, Norma Jean and Secrets right now. Like, what is going on? Like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought I was going to be doing this today. I was just gonna end up stuck in a warehouse somewhere, but like to be like, yeah, I'm on tour right now with three bands that I've listened to and looked up to for, a decade basically is crazy to me. And like it usually hits me every single night when I'm just looking out at the crowd and sitting there like beating the crap out of my drums. Like this is what I do for a living right now. So yeah, I know it hits me hard every day.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good mentality to have for sure. I'm also a bit of a gear nerd. I really like hearing about what people perform with. So, what kind of rig are you running this tour? And like, do you have like any favorite sticks or anything like that?
Yeah, so primarily, so I'm endorsed by Vader. It's the stick that I've been playing for the last 3 years. I use their XD5A series, so a little heavier on the front end, a little bit thinner taper, and they got a barrel tip. I found like it's the best stick definition out of my cymbals. So that's what I've been using for my sticks, and also I don't break them very often. I've lost a pair every night, but only because I throw them out at the end of the show. So it takes me a while to break those. Drums wise, I'm using Mapex. I've been with them since 2021. And I'm playing Saturn Evolution Hybrid. So it's mahogany and birch on a couple of the drums, and the mahogany and maple on a couple of the drums. Primarily the maple mahogany mix is the kick and my 18-inch floor tom, and the birch mahogany is my rep and my 16-inch floor tom. And it's because like the maple mahogany gives like this nice big punchy warm tone. The 16 and the 12 getting the punch a little bit faster decay. So really, they hit really hard. Really well. And actually, I'm using Evans heads. I've been using Evans heads for years. Like that's been my primary head since I started playing my own kit. Um, but for those, G2s on the tops, the G2 for my go-to. And actually, after we did a run with the Tragu back in 21, I got this tip from Jeeves, who plays drums for Pound the Empire. And he's like, yeah, I use coated batter heads on my regular sides. I was like, oh, because like every night I was just like, dude, the toms sound freaking ridiculous, like in the best way possible. I was like, they sound massive, they sound full, and I'm just like, how do I get that? Let's give this a try. And so I've been doing that ever since, and like I get the same compliments now on my toms. So it's just like, dude, your toms sound great. I'm like, thanks, Jeeves. So I've been running those cymbals wise, and using a company called Legato out of California. And they're great cymbals. They hold up really well. They've got really great tones to them. I think the rest of the guys in the tour is using a mix of Zildjian and Myles, which Matt from Norma Jean, his Myles sounds amazing. I'm like I'm borderline kind of jealous about it. Um, so it's been awesome to kind of like also like take everyone else's brain on this tour and let's see what they're using. Because they also both Norma Jean and Memphis Mayfire play truth kits, which I haven't seen in a long time. I thought they were out of the business, but apparently they're still up and kicking and like, still slamming out drums. And then okay, hardware wise, off topic there. So hardware wise, um, pretty much all of my cymbal arms and my cymbal booms are in Apex. So they actually made black hardware that I can use if I have like a white a polar white kit, and it just mixes really well with all black hardware. Like it really pulls that kit out and kind of make it pop. Then I'm using Gibraltar stealth racks, which literally holds everything. The mics around the black mounts and like tables all live on the racks. So like, it kind of takes it to where our off stage load time is under 4 minutes. which is insane because you get a 15-minute changeover. We're off stage in the first 3 to 4 minutes of that, and the band's just like, "Oh, dude, we got so much time to set up and line check now." So, we try to do that, like, kick the door in, have everybody has a good time, and we just get out of the way as soon as we can. Um, so a lot of our setup is pretty much geared towards efficiency. Like it sounds amazing, but it also loads in and out very quickly for that reason. Like I don't even break my hardware down at the end of the night. Like it goes on top of one of our road cases. It's got eye hicks on it, and just ratchet strap it down, and just roll it into the trailer.
Wow, that's really awesome. I bet you guys are Secret's best friend, getting back into getting your gear off of there so quickly.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's been very helpful. Like any band that's able to tear off stage quickly is going to be the next band's best friend for sure. Because that just makes their job easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So, to kind of so who would you say is on your on repeat playlist right now? Like who have you been is there anybody you've been listening to a lot as of late?
Ooh, honestly, there's a band my girlfriend showed me called City and Color, and which is massively different for everything that's going on in the store. But I mean, that's kind of like what I do is like they're more of an alternative band, very groovy, very not groovy, but very popular music. And that's kind of like my chill down at the end of the night. Just like after listening to rock and metal for 5 to 7 hours a night, I don't want to get back on the bus and listen to more of it. So it's been that. It's been Emerosa. I've been listening to like crap on Emerosa lately. Just because basically I was like, that's. I've always been saying like if Michael Jackson was still making music, that's the music he'd be making. And then the 1975 new record is from him as well.
Awesome. I always got to ask, are you a or do you prefer like the newer Emarosa, like the more popular sound, or do you like kind of like
Mm-hmm.
the older like I think Chris Roeder with like Monster Flames was with Emarosa for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely. I mean, I listened to Emerosa back when they had like back before the genre switch, basically. And I didn't mind it. It was good for sure. I think when Peachtree came out is definitely when they kind of came into their mature sound. But like what they're putting out now fits his voice so well. And like just the whole vibe of the band when they switch, like it sounds great. I can't fault it. It sounds so good.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love the album myself. So we've talked about the present. So looking towards the future, do you have any dream venues or that you'd like to play?
The only dream venue I have is Red Rocks in California, or not California, in Colorado. That that would be. I could die happy after playing Red Rocks. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And do you have any other aspirations you'd really like to achieve with Saul? Like any festivals or like any big goals you have?
I would love to play Shiprock. I know we've been talking about that a lot lately. Getting on that boat. A UK tour would be fantastic, of course. Yeah, every band wants to go tour in the UK. A Japanese tour would be insane. I would love to tour Japan. Man, I just want to go to Japan. Period. And then as far as just like tours, direct support for Disturbed or Slipknot would make my life.
Yeah, I mean those are some pretty good goals. So I myself, I'm actually a concert photographer slash whatever, and I'm going on my first tour tomorrow. And I usually don't insert myself into interviews, but I was actually wondering if there's any tour essentials or things I should know before I go on tour.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, man, I could that could be a whole interview in its own. I guess the biggest thing is just be conscious of time. Because, like when you get on tour, there are schedules for sure. Like we have to load in every day at 1:30, and we have to give ourselves enough time to travel. Like I don't know what your travel situation is going to be like once you get on the road. Like it's going to be like if you have a driver, you're going to be fine. if the band is driving, like our we're driving ourselves right now. Blake and Zach have been doing the majority of the driving. And so like last night we were like, okay, so we played in Knoxville, Tennessee. We have to be in Charleston, South Carolina in the morning for loading. And that's a 5.5 hour drive. Like obviously we're not going to sleep overnight and then get up at 6 a.m. and drive 5 hours. So we were like, all right, let's drive. I think Zach got us 4 hours down the road last night. And then we stopped at this, truck stop across the street. And we're like, all right, let's get some shut eye and we'll wake up in the morning and we'll have a house. But also with that comes like when we stop at like say a Planet Fitness for showers and get cleaned up or whatever. And if we say we're leaving at 10:30, you better be on that bus at 10:30. That is the biggest thing. Like if you're not essential to the tour package, we will leave you. Because like in order to keep up with professionalism and expectations on the tour, you don't want to be that band that's consistently showing up late unless like there is a dire situation, unless you're broke down on the side of the road. This is a medical emergency. You are expected to be at that venue at a certain time, just like with a regular job. If your boss says you need to be there at 8 a.m., you show up at 8:30 or 8:45, you're not going to be there for very long. So that's like the biggest thing I would say to take away is just be on time or just be courteous, just be professional. It's like the most information I could just say is just be professional and have fun. Like touring, yes, it's work, but you're seeing the country. You're getting to experience parts of the country we would just normally go to. This is what we do. This is our passion. This is what drives it. So having that mentality of man, this is what I get to do instead of man, I still have 10 more days on this tour and I'm tired already. Just looking at everything with a positive outlook is how you're going to make it through a tour, no problem. And then just get along with everybody. We try to get along with everybody. Like nobody likes that person that kind of just sticks to themselves all day and like is just kind of standoffish because you're not going to make friends at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I really appreciate that advice. And yeah, I even though this is a really fun industry to be in, because you get to see the world, like punctuality and professionalism are definitely vital. I can definitely agree with that. I think we've had a really good chat. So I always like to wrap up my interviews with kind of my signature question, which is what is your best sales pitch to check out your band either at a show or on Spotify?
Best sales pitch. Honestly, you know what? I don't really have a sales pitch for Saul. Like I can lead you through it like it's the horse to water thing. I can lead you to the band page. I can lead you to a Spotify, but I can't make you like our music. You're gonna enjoy it or you're not gonna enjoy it. Like, the music's not for everybody. But I love it. My friends love it. I call it stepdad rock because it's what your stepdad would listen to. We're a little bit our target audience is a little bit younger than the Disturbed and Slipknot crowd, but a little bit older than like the One Direction crowd. So we kind of like sit in that ballpark of what I call the stepdad rock guys. So I'd say listen to it. If you dig it, awesome. We'll see you at a show. If you don't dig it, that's fine. It's not your style. That's cool.
Awesome. That's a great response to the question. Well, I really appreciate you joining me today, Miles. I really hope you have a great rest of your tour, and I look forward to seeing what Saul does next. I'm going to hit stop recording now.